GTA is one of the biggest and most successful games in history. So much so that even 10 plus years later, there are still people playing it every single day, and its sequel GTA 6 is one of the most anticipated games of all time. But just because I'm saying these things doesn't mean that it's the perfect game. There have been a multitude of bad decisions that Rockstar has made on this game, some bigger than others. However, one of these mistakes almost ruins the reputation that GTA and Rockstar had as a whole. Before I do go any further in this video, if you guys have any videos that you do want me to make, please let me know down in the comments, and consider liking and subscribing and joining the Discord, which is linked down below in the description if you do enjoy this video. Okay, so as we all know, there have been numerous bad additions to GTA. The orbital cannon, the removal of changing your character from a man to female, probably the worst addition ever made, and the actual worst addition that they have ever made was adding the Oppressor Mark II into the game. Now I know what you think, this is just another video going to talk about how overpowered the Oppressor was years later after it came out. Well, you're wrong, take it, you know it all. No, seriously, this video is about Rockstar's decision to start releasing futuristic vehicles into the game. Whether that be vehicles that can fly, jetpacks, or vehicles that can turn into submarines, there's no doubt that after Rockstar started implementing these vehicles, people's opinion of them soured. That happened for a couple reasons though. The first of these reasons was the price of all of the vehicles. With most of these vehicles costing millions to buy and even more to upgrade or get the fully upgraded versions of them, it made it seem like they made these purely to increase shark car purchases. They also changed how PvP worked in the game, with some of these new vehicles being the new meta for PvP fighting. Just look at the Oppressor, it was so dominant for years that if you didn't have them, you were at a disadvantage. For example, if someone had an Oppressor and you didn't, they would be able to outmaneuver you and outplay you every single time. Now, with most of these items being so insane when it came to PvP, it made it so that the price tag was justified because they were the best of the time, and if you didn't have them, you were at such a disadvantage. It encouraged people to steal their parents' credit cards to buy starter cards that they'd then get beaten for and grounded for. One of the other reasons why these were hated so much though was because there was nothing like it in the game before. Down to its roots, GTA is a game about becoming a big crime boss and making millions to where you almost own every crime industry in the game. However, never before have you had to have a flying DeLorean or a Jason Bond car that can turn into a submarine to do these things. At its baseline, these vehicles are something that aren't realistic to the game. I mean, in a natural world, are you going to own a jetpack and a flying bike? It took away from the point of GTA, and that upset people. Back to the pricing of these though, it annoys people more that you had to own multiple things to even own these vehicles. To own a jetpack, you needed a facility. To own any of the rocket vehicles, you needed separate garages as well. To own an Oppressor, you needed a nightclub, and then a terabyte, and then the Oppressor to get its missiles. It made it difficult to be able to get these vehicles, let alone with its costing so much at the time. The final reason I have for these being hated so much was how strong they were. I mean, you couldn't join a GTA lobby without one of these vehicles terrorizing the lobby to the point where people were either going into passive mode or leaving the lobby itself. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's ended their life over being killed by an Oppressor in GTA. The big issue was that they made the game unenjoyable to play for the average player. It caused misery for the people who didn't have these vehicles because they couldn't defend themselves from these additions to the game. They were that overpowered. They just made the game unfun. It put certain people who own these vehicles on a pedestal because they were nothing. There was nothing that you could do against it. And that sums it up. When you look at present day GTA, you see a lot less people in these sort of vehicles, but they are still very prominent. And whilst these vehicles dominated GTA Online at one point to where the average player was being terrorized by them, now they don't seem to pose nearly of a threat as they used to, and have just become a part of GTA history. That doesn't mean that these vehicles were ever going to disappear though. I think this is one of GTA's worst decisions that they've ever made because of how unrealistically it is that this would happen in the real world. GTA is meant to be a game about committing crimes, and in no way in committing crimes are you going to need a jetpack or a flying bike or a vehicle that can turn into a submarine and have torpedoes. And that's why they were hated so much. If you guys have any thoughts of your own, please let me know in the comments, as I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.